Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. It's lovely to be here again and lovely to have a chance to share with you the passions of life, art, culture, literature, all those things that really contribute to making a healthy society. And as we often have subjects where we speak about poets, we speak about authors, we speak about famous novels and works that have been handed down to the centuries, there, is a very, very important subject that we need to talk about, and that is art. The definition of art. What is art? If you go to the dictionary, the dictionary will give you the definition of the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Now that is a very, very powerful medium indeed. And today what we're going to talk about is painting through poetry. Painting through poetry, or poetry in motion, when you take an inspiration being inspired from poetry and you turn it into a visual masterpiece. For today's program, we have with us, we are very lucky to have with us, a very talented artist, and Mr. Faisal Niaz, who is from the telecom sector and is also associated with the corporate sector for the last 22 years. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for calling me over.
We've been able to look at your work, and it's absolutely breathtaking, I must say. Really beautiful. You describe yourself as art was a hobby which turned into a profession.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's always difficult for me to explain to people, and they still don't take me as an artist because most of the people who know me as a corporate person.
Right.
It's been 22 years or more. I've been associated with the corporate sector. I work in the with banking, with MC, with every kind of department that is there. So the circle of the people around me would always treat me as this top management person of telco. But like you said, art was there. It was a hobby. I used to work it as a hobby. It's turning out more than a hobby now, and more like a profession
over
now. Yes, it
as
has.
creativity does.
Absolutely.
Because once you realize, it first is the realization of having a particular skill. Then it is the expression. Then it's the starting point, and then you finally find your place, and then you realize that, my God, this is what I was supposed to be doing.
I kept hearing about it, that one should be doing something which he likes or she likes, and I would say no. You have to work for money, and then you have to start liking it because it is giving you money for that matter. But over the time, I've realized that the things that you are passionate about, that brings the best out of you.
Oh, that's so true.
And I'm so happy now that I'm associated with something which I enjoy, which brings the emotions out of me, and I'm loving it now.
And you know that I would say that that's an immense blessing.
It
because
is.
There is a famous quote that if you do something that you love, you will never have to work for a single day of your life.
Yes.
And that is what it is. And people who are sort of bound by the creative link can understand that so much, how important
like you said, it's a blessing.
It's a blessing, absolutely.
It's a blessing.
We're going to talk about your paintings, we're going to talk about your art, we're going to talk about your inspirations, because you've been inspired a lot by the famous poets of Pakistan, especially Faiz Ahmed Faiza. And we will go into that as well. Before we go into your paintings and we talk about them, I would like to just, ask you a couple of questions. First of all, what I think is that, are artists taken seriously in our country? Are they given the due platform that they should be given? And are people recognizing them as they should be?
No, that is where my frustration is. It is such an unfortunate state here. I'm not being pessimistic about it. I'm optimistic. But when you look around and look at the priorities of the people and the kind of the certain people they would like to be associated with. for example, I put a statement on my Facebook that how many artists, friends that you have in your circle. And seriously, you won't find many. It's only by chance that you know somebody, otherwise will not be friends or they would not be in that circle. And another place, I attended a lecture and somebody told me that just imagine that how many libraries or art libraries get closed in a year and food places open up. So this is the priority. So yes, artists have not been given the due status in this country. I'm fortunate that I'm from a corporate sector. Otherwise, it is difficult for people to take it as a profession.
Take it seriously.
What can we do?
What are the remedies here?
Every person has to make its contribution. Complaining won't do anything about it. If I am associated with it, I need to make sure that I contribute, inspire as many people. That is why parents come to me, friends, that the children are interested in arts, and I would say, please bring them over to my place. I have all the time to teach them. So those, not only the government and the institutes need to take care and give a platform so the struggling artists can survive. The artists themselves, and when I say artists, it can be from any sphere of the art.
Of course.
They need to take it out from themselves and spread this message to as many people. And if you connect with 10 people and you are able to inspire even one single person,
of course,
you've done your job.
You've done your job because you've made a difference to that person's life.
Absolutely. And not only to that person, but to on a bigger extent to the society.
Because it's a domino effect, isn't it?
It's a domino effect.
One person is affected and then they in turn will affect other people.
Absolutely.
So it's about priorities as well, isn't it?
It is all about priorities.
We have to, on a conscious level as well.
It's all about priorities. Same as happening with our sports. I mean, the priority is that once we had the best of the squash players and the hockey players, and if the priority is not those sports anymore, we are not inspiring our children to go into that. So if we had Anamolkas and we had Sadkans and we had Chukhtais, so at that time, the children growing in those eras were inspired by those people. How many good artists can you name now? Yes. Because over the years, over the last 2-3 decades, the priorities have simply changed. So it is unfortunate that the child would be more interested to become a business person and earn money rather to be associated with arts.
Whereas it is the element of creativity in whatever form.
It is.
It can be in visual form. It can be in written form. It can be in singing. There are so many dimensions.
Has no limit.
No limits, no boundaries, and it's worldwide.
Yes.
The best thing. In fact, I would say, we go on about promoting the soft power of Pakistan, the soft image of Pakistan. We have so many resources here. We have so many people who are so talented.
Amazing.
You just go and you visit the handicrafts.
Absolutely.
You just, that's art. Yes. That is itself poetry in motion.
Yes, not that even that we have the people, the talent around, but look at the diversity. I mean, you start from the northern areas, and if somebody just start getting inspiration from the beauty of the northern areas to the deserts of the Cholistan, it is unlimited. Around the world, I mean, if you go to the best of the countries, they have a same kind of environment. They do not have different seasons. I mean, if somebody these days, Islamabad is a beauty in its autumn season.
That's so true.
And when the spring would come.
That's so true.
So many things to inspire by.
Oh, yes.
Then you have the talent of the people to do that. It is only that you need to encourage them, bring them into the forelight.
And put them on some direction.
Yes, we have.
I think that is the main thing. Okay, coming back to your work specifically. Faiz's, let's talk about Faiz Sab's influence on your paintings. the poem you were talking about earlier, Tanhai.
Yes. Nuskha Wafa, which is the total combination of all his work, that's his first poem. I mean, you can talk about Faz and even 10 programs would not be enough.
Yes.
The wonderful thing about Faz is that he has spoken on every subject. And of course, it would be like for a person like me to say that he is the best poet, it's an understatement. He is. So it's easy to get inspired from him. Tanhai is a beautiful poem on loneliness, somebody waiting for the loved one. One of the inspiration for my paintings where I made a female sitting and the expression, and even the face is not being shown in that picture. But the whole painting is showing the pain and the sorrow.
And the state of mind.
And the state of the mind that person is in, waiting for somebody and just hoping that the person would arrive. And maybe that person is not arriving for that matter.
Oh, that's terrible.
So his poems are just deep.
Yeah, of course.
Those are amazing.
And that is the wonder of poetry.
Oh, amazing.
That is the
Amazing.
wonder of such great poets
Absolutely.
as Faisal himself.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
they leave you a legacy. They leave you a treasure chest.
Yes, it is.
Where
Yes, it is.
everyone, once you open that treasure chest and you look inside, you will be amazed with what you have there.
You've put it very rightly that these people have left you the treasures. Now it is up to us to explore it as much as we can. And it is unlimited treasure.
That's so true.
You just need to, you've put it brilliantly, that treasure is lying there.
What are we going to do with
Other
it?
nations do not have that. Across the border, they do not have even a single poet which they can relate that this is a poet of international stature.
Yes.
We have numbers of them. And same goes for artists and painters.
Absolutely, and we have such richness in our culture.
Yes.
We have such richness in our land. If you go abroad and fine, everything is, you have your organization and you have things going around like clockwork. There's something about the soil.
It is all about soil. Ishfaq Ahmed, I heard him saying, and it was brilliant. He said that the most strongest of the senses is your smell. And when you say that, mere watan ki mitti ki khushboo, and it made such a sense.
Yes.
You would associate the smell of the place.
Yes.
Wherever you are in the world, that smell of your own soil is so strong.
It's something that you never forget.
You can never take it out of your soul, no matter wherever you go in the world and how much you try to be in a foreign land. So we have such a rich soil.
It's true.
So much diversity.
And that, that is the reason that so many people who are living away from home suffer from so much nostalgia and homesickness.
We can't even imagine. Their level of association with soil is at a different level. So this is unfortunate that we living here, we enjoying everything, maybe are not appreciating it as much as others are doing outside it.
That's absolutely true. So you painted your depiction of loneliness. To paint something that's so abstract.
I'm not into abstract that much. I am a person who would like to portray in your face kind of a thing.
Okay.
If there is loneliness, or for that matter, happiness, or people coming together, it should be shown in the same feelings in a painting, not in a photograph. That is the difference between a photograph and a painting. Because
that's a very interesting point you made.
You see, what makes painting interesting is that it brings that element of personality into it. your individualism into it, how you feel about it, not a camera lens which will capture it the way it is. If I am making a painting, I would mold it according to my own emotions.
Right.
And that is what makes a painting different from a photograph.
Of course.
So any emotion, like you said, that loneliness has been captured in few of my paintings, you will see the same kind of expression in a happy painting, for that matter.
It's very interesting.
Paintings, which we'll discuss later, is all about the colors of life.
Right.
And that's what I try to do in a painting. That whatever I'm trying to portray into it, may that be happiness, loneliness, colors, rhythm, I portray them through the colors that I feel are the best for them.
And that's, of course, what gives it its uniqueness.
And that's what Faz poetry is all about.
Yes.
Faz will choose the words which maybe no other poet would choose. He would choose the most unusual of the words. रात यूं दिल में तेरी खोई हुई याद आई जैसे सहरा में हो चहोले से चले बाद नसीम. The words that he would use, and when you would convert those words into art, so you have to do justification to those words.
That's an immense, if you think about it, it's an immense challenge to take up as well, isn't it?
Also. We can never do justice to his words, but we try.
Of course. No, but I've seen your work. It's doing quite a lot of justice. Another inspiration from Faz's poetry, beauty.
Oh, yes.
As John Keats said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever.
Oh,
so
yes,
the inspirational element of beauty in any sort of
yes.
form of creativity, it's magical, isn't it?
Yes. Any artist may be from whatever area he or she belongs to, is a worshipper of beauty.
Oh yes, whether you admit it or not.
Whether you admit it
this
or
is
not.
A human.
Yes.
This is a human tendency.
Yes.
In some people, it becomes a human
Absolutely.
failing.
So artist has that advantage of expressing it.
And in fact, we're going to show your pictures as we are showing while we are speaking as well. We are showing your pictures as well. This picture is a beautiful one. The color depiction, and this picture. I mean, it's just so phenomenal that you can almost feel the embroidery or the color sequence. The intricacy of this picture is amazing.
Like earlier said, that's what Faz poetry is all about. It will give you that intricate detail about somebody. May that he be explaining a beautiful person, a feeling of happiness. So that's what I also try to do in my painting. To have as much intricate work done into it, to bring that finer beauty into it.
So how long would it take you to make a painting like this, which is...
That's the funny part.
Is it always the same, or is it different for a different piece of work?
It is different. It is different.
Would it be because of the thought process or the actual intricacy of the painting?
It's to do with the both.
Okay.
For example, the painting that we're discussing about, this is a very intricate one.
Right.
Now, this is Indian ink. It is done only not through shades, but through lines only. So even if you are doing as fine a shade as the pupil of an eye to a shade on a dupatta, you cannot fill it. You just have to do it with lines. Somewhere the lines are going to be finer, somewhere it's going to be thicker. So this is the longest that you would take. If I'm doing the same one with the charcoals, it would take me less time because I can fill it somewhere darker, somewhere lighter, but I would fill the space with the charcoal pencil. But when you're doing it with a pen, you cannot make it all black by just filling it up. You have to keep it as fine as possible. But on the other hand, like you said also, it is not only about the intricacy, it's about how much depth that painting has, how much you're feeling about it, and what you want to bring out of it. So some paintings would take more which when I start may look very easy, and I would say that I would finish it in days for that matter, and they would turn up in weeks. Because as I start working on them and it starts developing, I start getting involved into it, and then the best part about making a painting is that you start experimenting with it.
Yes.
And that is what is the most exciting part of making an artist. That when you go beyond out of the box and start experimenting with it,
of course.
Chances are it can get ruined also.
But then there's a risk.
But that's the whole fun about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole fun about it.
So do you ever feel that, you've started work on something and you feel that it's developed a life of its own and it's engulfing, rather than you making the painting is making you work?
It happens. It's in every sphere of art. The best of the best artists get so much involved into the character that the characters take over them. Same goes for the painting also.
Right.
That is depiction of your feelings. So sometimes that feeling overpasses your personality and becomes more of it. So that's why my wife says make less of the sad ones and more of the happier ones.
That's true. Well, and just the colour one, this depiction, the first picture of beauty is absolutely, saying beautiful for this is, is overkill, but it has an aura and it's the intricacies are absolutely fascinating. Now, the second poem after that, painting after that, it does look like a poem, actually.
It is. You see, somebody would say that you have only made... Most of the paintings are on the happier side, whereas Faz was a revolutionist and his poetry was all about struggle. Now, I take the positive out of it. You see, Faz's struggle was to find happiness.
Right.
So rather than focusing on his poetry is at times very dark. Very, very, very dark, because he has seen the worst.
As every poet will have their mood, according to the situation that they're in.
But out of their darkness, they are finding that ray of hope at the end of it. That's what I've done with my paintings.
Okay.
Moving from those kind of sad paintings on the low side, most of my paintings would be depicting the positive side where Faz eventually was looking.
Right.
That where is the brighter picture?
Where is the culmination of all this struggles?
Where is the culmination? In his bigger picture, for that matter, Faz's poetry was pre-partition, and how Pakistan came into being. That was most of his most beautiful nazms, like Musse Pehli Si Mohabbat, which people think is about a female, is not about a female, but about the land. And the happiness of getting that land, of that dream coming along, is what he was striving for. So I focused more where he has found the happiness.
Right.
So that is why my most of the paintings you would see are
they
very
have
colorful.
The optimistic
And they have a lot of color. Other than the black and whites, which I love, I like the medium of black and white.
Yeah, and as I was going to, the second painting, the one which has, is that charcoal? Is that what is that?
The one where
the reclining one, the one I made into my cover picture. Actually.
Oh yeah, all right. No, this is pen. This is pen work.
This is pen work as well.
This is pen work.
And this is such intricate.
This is all Chris. Yes, this is the most increment of most of my pieces. Why I don't make more of those? Because this takes a lot of time. And like I said, that I'm involved into so many other things of life. I wish I had more time, and I still love doing ink work as the most.
Okay.
So this is all ink work, and what I like to make my pieces on a larger scale. Yes. I think the impact is more. So this is something like 4 feet, I think. So
right,
yes.
Amazing. And you've been able to depict beauty and loneliness, both of them, both aspects Faiz's work in this picture, actually, haven't you?
Yes, you can say that it's the transformation of loneliness getting into the beauty side. So,
right. No, that's phenomenal. Okay, as we've spoken about loneliness, we've spoken about beauty, Faisab's work, and what impact it has had on you and your paintings. There's also as you mentioned, the happy moments of a relationship, of a person themselves, the happy moments of meeting, of joyous occasions. Tell us about that. Tell us about those paintings.
Again, Faz has been a big inspiration into it. If you read Faz's poetry, his best of the best poems, because for a long time he was in jail, and the letters that he has written to his wife are all about the describing how they would meet up.
The anticipation of that time.
Anticipation of meeting up. If you one of his most famous Dashte Tanhai is such a beautiful poem. So, like I said, that the positive side of his paintings, his paintings have been very hurtful, full of hurt. But the way he has described of eventually finding that loved one is where the best of his poetry has come out.
Yes.
This is very inspiring for me
because
also.
that probably sparked the most emotion in him himself.
Absolutely. He has spent a lot of time outside Pakistan, and that was a very hurtful time for him. And he would yearn to go back to Pakistan.
Of course.
So when eventually those times came, so the kind of poetry that came out at those times was very inspirational. And like I said, that I would like to focus more on his happy poetry rather than his dark side. I've done those. I love those poems. But the side where eventually in his poetry there is that meeting of after all the yearning is absolutely something I love to work upon.
So true. You've also made a series of paintings on dance and rhythm.
Yes.
How hard was that to capture? And I'm sure you must have had a lot of fun with that.
Yes.
Because the paintings are just so full of emotion.
Yes. Just to add, they're inspired by a Spanish artist, Fabian Perez. He works on the same lines.
Okay.
But I love this rhythm. I love this human body and the way it can be portrayed. And nothing like the kind of salsa and flamenco, the kind of body art that is around in the world. It's amazing. It has so much poetry in it itself.
Of course.
That this is absolutely what you call poetry in motion.
Yes, that's true.
And that's what my inspiration is all about. This is what I love doing the most, to be honest. The way those figures,
and as we can see right now, on the screen as well, we can see these pictures.
The colors.
The red that you've used.
I
love you've used very bold colors.
I love working with bold colors. So you'll find a lot of reds in it, lots of earth colors, but on a very high tone, mustards, and because that combination makes it more colorful. So yes, you're absolutely right. Most of my paintings are in that series, but maybe that's what I like.
Well, that's where you found your, your strongest inspiration.
I do.
We've got lots more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. We're having a wonderful conversation today, and we're, not only are we witnessing sort of like a great conversation, but fabulous visuals as well by our talented artist. Thank you so much for being part of the program. Now let's move on to, we've spoken about Faiz's, inspiration with loneliness, with beauty, with the meeting as well. The most phenomenal part of his writing, his love for Pakistan.
Absolutely.
You depicted that as well.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
That's what Faiz's poetry is all about. At the end of the day, his love for this country. He could easily have been on the other part of the border and would have been worshipped like anything. He chose, and no doubt about it. His passion for this country cannot be explained in his words. One of his best nazms, Mujhse pehli si mohabbat mere mehboob na maang, is the real depiction of it. And then he has numbers and numbers of most amazing pieces on Pakistan. He was a proud Pakistani. And that's when we started the program, we said that what an artist can do for the country. And he has shown us in his own capacity. We cannot be Faiz, but on our own smaller scale, we need to contribute towards this country. And that's what I have done in my most humble of the way, that if I can portray it in my paintings, that's a small thing that I'm giving back to this land.
And I love that word that you just used, giving back.
Absolutely, because
that's something that we do lack, don't we? We're always about take.
Yes.
And when it comes to giving back,
yes,
we're like, what do we have to give back? Whereas everyone has something they can give back.
You see, despite my hectic schedule, you learn over it time, and I hope others learn it well before me, for that matter. I now study I teach in universities also. And I think it should be a mandatory for the corporate people that they should go and teach in universities. That knowledge needs to be transferred to the next generation.
Of course.
So we need to give back in whatever thing that we are better than others, that needs to be transferred.
Absolutely.
So I'm doing it using my 22 years of the corporate side also. Excellent. Teaching in the universities. Then my other field is paintings. I love to painting on the subject of Pakistan. It's a different way I'm doing it, because the beauty of Pakistan, it's its people. So my paintings of Pakistan would not be landscapes. I think those are too blunt, and that can be portrayed more better in photographs maybe. I like painting the soul. Yes, the real soul of the nation. So one of my paintings is about Lahori Gate and that hustle and bustle in front of it.
That's a beautiful picture, in fact.
Yes.
It's full of colours.
Yes, so there are rickshaws.
It's full of emotion. And here, is this a Basant depiction?
Oh, I miss Basant, so that's a controversial subject, but what a colourful event that was.
Yes.
I mean, so that's a different topic, but the Lahore would be the most colourful at Basant. So yes, this is depicting Basant. So as many colours that you have on
and that's
on
actually a visual delight, isn't it? It's a visual delight to see that.
So the colour is already there on the surface. The rickshaws, the hawkers, and all those things. It's such a organized chaos, and that's what
exactly
I love about Pakistan.
That's absolutely true. You, in fact, took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I feel when I go abroad. I just miss Pakistan so much, because you get a bit bored with everything going to plan all the time, and everything's so synchronized and robotic, and then you miss the things the spontaneity here, the essence of life.
That's what Pakistan is all about.
It's all about.
Another painting I made is of Masjid Wazir Ali. That's in the heart of Lahore. Unfortunate, so few people have been there. They go to the Badshahi Mosque, which is absolutely nothing compared to the Masjid Wazir Ali, which is situated in the heart of the city. it has so many colors. So what we did was that I parked my car at NCA, took a rickshaw, and told him that take me to Masjid Wazir Ali. And what life over there. So one of my paintings is of Masjid
exactly.
Wazir Ali.
We're showing that as well. That's fantastic.
If I have time, and what one would say that what would you like to do more about the paintings is depicting as many colors of Pakistan I can.
Oh,
That would be my dream.
that's amazing.
2, 1, making as many paintings related to the poets.
Okay.
I would love to work on Faz and Faraz and other poets and Jalib. And the other line which is my passion, I'm working in my own capacity, is to paint as much as of the people of Pakistan, the Kalash people, the deserts of Cholistan. There is so much variety, so much color available. It's amazing.
That's absolutely true. Another inspiration in your life, of course, the great artist Sadiq.
Yeah.
You have,
The Holy Sinner.
You have produced calligraphy as well.
Yes.
You've painted
Yes.
calligraphic paintings. Tell us about that as well.
Yeah.
That must be a totally different
Absolutely.
feeling, because every different medium and every different form will take you on a different journey.
Yes.
When you're painting about beauty and you're painting about the land and you're painting about loneliness or joyous moments, and then this is a different dimension,
Yes.
isn't it? Tell us what you feel when you are making a work of art like this.
Benefit of making calligraphy, it can never go wrong. One thing. No, but I fell in love with calligraphy because of Sadkan. And that is when I visited Lahore Museum. If you go to Lahore Museum, so Sadkan shifted there for a few years. And his home was Lahore Museum. And he just spent years painting its ceilings and walls. It's the most amazing work of an artist you will find in the world, for that matter. He spent most of his time and he just kept on painting those. And those are amazing works. Of course, the scale of it, because the whole roofs of those halls and walls are covered with his paintings. That is where I got my inspiration for calligraphy. Then, of course, Gulji was here, and in our generation, we were lucky to see him. We were not lucky enough to see the era of Sadkan. But he has done so much work. He has done so much work, and he was so generous in his work. He would not keep it to himself. People have made fortunes out of his work because he was so much in love with his work that he was not looking at it at a commercial level. If I would go and tell Sadkan uncle, please make up, and he would love to do a piece for me. His style is the most distinctive. It's not the conventional way how calligraphy is done. So that's what I inspired from. So one of the painting I've done of Sadkan, if you look at it, it has so much meaning because it is depicting, it's about a famous ayat, "Tum Allah ki kis name to ko." To Allah ki name to, they have shown the way that the lower colors are in earth colors, and it is going till the top, which is the universe. So God's blessings are unlimited, right from the bottom of our land to the limits of the universe. And that's what his paintings was all about. It was not just written ayats. There was so much meaning behind it. The whole universe would be captured in his work. So that inspired me making calligraphies. I still love doing calligraphies. I haven't learned the art forms of khatati. I'm not familiar with those, but then that makes me unique, I think, also in that sense.
Well, because in that way you're not confined as
well,
aren't you?
I'm not confined about it.
So that actually gives
absolutely.
you more freedom of expression.
More freedom. I'm not confined at what kind of a khatati style I am following.
Right. Excellent. Now, when we talk about art and we talk about artists in any form whatsoever, the creative journey always starts with one step that takes you there, and then you sort of think, oh, okay, this might be something that might be able to, I might be able to express myself here.
True.
Isn't art actually, because a human being, the soul of a human being is always yearning for something.
Yeah.
If we're not yearning for love, if we're not
Absolutely.
yearning for affection, if we're not yearning for acceptance, there is some underlying current that we yearn for.
Yeah.
When a person embarks into a creative journey, they're actually answering the call from their soul, aren't they?
True.
Where did that first step come for you?
Difficult to pinpoint as such. More important is that, just like you said, that it's a journey. Important thing is that you do not end that journey.
Yes.
You keep adding into it. How it started is you cannot isolate it to an incident but like we started this program, and Faz poetry brought that seriousness into it. I started making drawings earlier and started learning about Faz later.
Okay.
But when...
How old were you when you first started?
Yes. So I was by the school time, everybody was telling that your drawings are good and whatever.
It was probably just sketching
Yes.
in your notebook
But
at that time, isn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely. But at that time, I do not have the maturity to understand what Faz was. Now, the Faz understanding came in the later years, let's say by the time I was in the college.
Okay.
We were reading Faz even in 9th class, which I find very funny that Faz poetry we are told in 9th, and we have absolutely no idea what it is all about. So by the time you started understanding Faz or any other poet, that what actually is how they are depicting life and other forms, that then translated into the paintings. So that brought the real essence into the paintings.
Right.
I was making art earlier, but it was learning people like Faz that brought me to that point that now I can make some sense out of my art.
That is an amazing inspiration, isn't it? To be able to appreciate something and then to be able to express it in your own way.
Yes, I've been blessed in that way.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So, what do you think? Why are we not producing more Sadhgans? Why are we not producing more?
Okay, this is an international...
The talent is there.
Yes, but this is not just confined to Pakistan. We are more hurting out of it. But there are no more Michelangelos and there are no more international artists. How many international artists that you can name now, or if they were earlier in the era? So in Pakistan, so there was Faiz and Jalib and Sadhgan. So yes, you cannot name even a couple of good poets now.
Yes.
That's how the revolution has come. So the art era has ended and the technology era has come into being around the world.
Yes,
however, other nations are still proud of their old heritage, and they try as much to cultivate it into their next generation. We are not doing it.
Absolutely.
In our priorities, it's not even a priority. That's my frustration. That is where I feel hurt about it. Until unless you would not inspire children, are children ever taken to any art galleries? Are they ever taken to meet an artist? Do they even know the name of any artist around here? Like I said, that putting a Faz poem in 9th class is just ratification of it that a child would do out of it. You have to work on it, and then out of generations that would come. We were unfortunate that one era of especially the 80s just took the culture out of us.
True.
And culture is built over centuries, and it can be destroyed in so less time. We are trying to revolve back and get to it, but the speed, the intention is just too slow.
Right. So it's something that we have to take up on an individual basis as well, isn't it?
there is no doubt about it that every individual will have to play its part. Will it make a difference at a larger scale? To be honest, it won't. But does it mean that as an individual we stop trying about it? No, we don't. Every individual associated with art, institutes like PTV, will have to go beyond their limits to to bring it back. This bringing back art develops your society.
Of course.
And
then,
there are no shortcuts to it.
And then again, it doesn't involve a person to travel millions of miles, to spend hordes of money.
Yes.
It's just something that you can appreciate at whatever part of life you are in, whatever age, whatever status, whatever, it's something that's there and you can just take your own vision away from it. It's something that's timeless.
True. But at some stage, the state would have to come to aid of it.
Yes.
Because of the reason that it has gone to a level that smaller contribution would not bring that back in the kind of a way that we want to. Every artist that artist is already making his or her contribution. They need to do more, but
they need to be recognized.
The state support
they
has
need to be
come.
owned.
Yes. I mean, you need to give that respect to that
of course,
artist.
A standing in society.
Yes.
Where then other people are also inspired and think that, okay, this is something that I would really want to do. I would like to be like so-and-so.
Why would somebody send her child to be an artist? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody is looking at it on a commercial level.
Of course.
But that's life.
Which in itself is justified.
That's justified.
Because if you send a talented child into learning so much, and then at the end of the day, he or she is struggling financially, that's miserable.
Let me give you a very small example, just came to my mind. If you go to the Sunday Bazaar, there's an artist sitting over there. And I'm so happy that every Sunday he conducts classes over there. And dozens of children come over here. Now, if somebody is sitting in a Sunday Bazaar not making any money, he can do it. Why can't any other established artists, and I can name many of them here in Islamabad, I mean, they be Mashkoor or whoever, or Saeed Akhtar or whatever, they are big names. They have to go beyond what they are doing and contribute. And let's hope and pray that the nation or the state also comes to the rescue. It's going to be a combined effort.
Of course, it would be. What are your words of advice for somebody who wants to, who feels that they have this talent?
Everybody, my advice is that do not think that it is something which is totally inborn. God has gifted us all. It may not be painting, then it is music. If it is not music, it can be dancing. You have the talent. You see, what happens is that the parents start appreciating a certain trait. This child is very good in maths. And eventually, out of that appreciation, that child really actually becomes good in math.
That's true.
And they would say, oh, this person is good with sciences and that person. Everybody has the talent. So one thing I would ask parents, encourage your child for his or her child's growth in terms of his learning. Encourage him to go towards arts. In abroad, the countries, they give less importance to the grades.
Yes.
And how many extracurricular activities that you're doing is even more...
They focus more on the creativity of a child.
The creativity of the child.
Which is more
May that be
important.
Japan or China or any place else, studies come much later.
Yes, absolutely.
For us, I mean...
It's the other way around.
We need
There's
more.
a lot we need to do. We need to, first of all, we need to change ourselves
Absolutely. It has to start with us.
I mean, it's only when we change ourselves that we will be able to
yes, you cannot
pass that on to our children,
You
isn't it?
cannot pinpoint to anybody else that that person is not doing what is required. Are we doing
what we should be doing?
we should be doing?
Mr. Faisal Niaz, thank you so much for being part of this program. We've really, enjoyed your discussion, and we've also been able to indulge in the beauty of your work as well. Thank you so much for being here. Well, we come to the end of another program today. It's been absolutely a pleasure to be able to talk to such a talented artist and to see his work as well. The most important thing is the inspiration that he got through poetry, through literature, that took him on this journey. And the most important thing is that we all have a hidden talent. As we've said, we've discussed in this program, there's always something that you can take away with you. There's always something that you can discover. Life is a journey of discovery. So discover that talent, hold on to it, and see what you can do with it in life. Until next time, bye-bye.